And I think we can just let it start because we're due to start. God.
You have to close that or echoes.
So,
Just X that. It should be good. I don't know what your art for TV is. I don't know what that is.
now wait a minute.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's an ad or something.
I don't know what.
Oh, wait a minute. It's going away in 3 seconds.
You click
Oh, I hit the wrong
you hit
thing.
the wrong thing, yeah.
All right, so I'm in the wrong place.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know why. You know, those two maps online. No, they're not. I don't believe that exists. And they
So you're on YouTube because it's live streaming
Okay.
and you're recording with Zoom.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you,
You're
ma'am.
welcome.
Yeah. It was funny last night, meeting with the people from out of town. I didn't seem to have the same interest that we have. You know, they seem to be
I have to watch for
on this.
Somebody who wants to come in.
Leslie's going to. The thing is,
Yeah. Yeah.
And will it be evident to me what to do to let her in? I just don't remember this stuff from.
me neither.
No, maybe she's not coming in.
No, I talked to her. She said the only trick is she'll need John to be home to let her in. So she might be late or just, if he doesn't get home in time, she can't do it, but she was planning to come.
Before it was the library.
We're waiting to see if Leslie was gonna chime in.
I don't
but-
know where. Theoretically, we're live. Okay. Okay, so
Okay, so hopefully I'll
watch
be able
for
to
it.
let her in. I just don't remember all of this stuff.
well, yeah, but you guys are gonna leave and we'll need her to keep a form if we have to.
Yeah. Four voting members and a couple of us hanging on.
You know, July is coming. I'm not sure all of us are gonna hurry up.
So did all of you get my email?
Yes.
Oh, God, I
Yeah.
never really get a chance to open that email.
Okay,
Should have.
well, you and Catherine and Henry all sent me messages and I sent out by message about what we're gonna do about it.
Yeah, so go ahead and do it.
So we can't, the question was, have people seen it?
Yes.
Well,
I know, it'd be funny if I printed it out.
Okay.
I saw it. I'm putting my hand up. I saw it. Yeah.
So,
Please, because
I never got any email thing today.
so I'm calling the meeting to order at 5:09. I think. And adjustments to the agenda, I suggested an adjusted order. Are people good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Reviewing approval of the minutes. Everybody reviewed the minutes?
yes.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'm gonna make a motion to.
Second. All in favor?
I.
Done.
I made the motion, it's you second.
Now, the first two things are short and sweet. You've all seen the annual report. I hope I precede you when it's in the prepared. So. And on the budget, Henry represented us for the select board. We had checked with Terry before that about that $70 charge for the email address. And she said it's only one time, so that's done. So we asked for $518, 500 for the things we had discussed, and 18 for insurance, which is, that's Terry's call. And no argument, and we have our $518.
Do we have an ID from Henry about the cost of those signs?
No, he did not tell me anything about jumping ahead. I mean, that's the next item on the agenda. No, we'll have to ask him when he's back. So that gets us to cleanup day, I think.
Community Resilience Partnership?
No, what my suggested, that's what I suggested, was to skip those so that we get to the
Okay.
and then go back. So, I'm not sure what we do about this because Henry's not here. Leslie usually takes a pretty big role in cleanup days. She hasn't come on. I'm sorry, what?
She's out of the state.
She's in Georgia and she was planning to Zoom. But what she told me was that she doesn't know how to get on. She needs,
If to send her a link. Did anybody send her a link?
oh yeah. She's got it all, but she still doesn't know how to do it. She said, so, and John was out golfing and if he gets back in time, he'll get her on. And if not, not.
I mean, you click on the link. You just click on the link and.
Not here, go. She said she's never done it.
Right.
Yeah, I think John should show her how to do it so that he doesn't have to be there next time, but we are where we are. So. One thing. I would ask, one thing we need to do is the publicity, and I'd like to ask Linda if you'd be willing to help with that.
Sure.
So, oh, good. So we're up to cleanup day and who can do what.
I will not be in town, so.
Right, and I am not being found. So.
April 22nd.
Right.
That's not me.
So who, are you folks in town?
We are.
Um,
I'm in town. I'm in town.
Like a fast to be distributed, there's something up in Cushman.
We have sign-up sheets. By the way, there was a question about sign-up sheets, and
Right.
I've already got some. So I'll get them. Do we know that?
Okay.
For this one, we usually don't have.
Well, when Henry gets back, we can really ask him to pick up the management of it wherever we find it.
Thank you. So I should just make copies of these, right, for the, on the day. Yeah,
That would be good because,
So, yep.
Sign sheets done.
So who is going to take care of the press, for instance?
Well, I was asked Linda can do it and I can help it, because that'll be before after.
I have that list that you made already with all the sources and everything, so yeah.
With that, and then, if you want to do flyers, you're very good at flyers.
Oh, and a poster.
Communications is being done.
Yeah.
And the signs are Henry, who assume.
Yes, and we'll have to ask him when he gets back. Presumably, he's ordered them and they're ready to pick up. That's sort of what it, but he didn't, on the list, I asked him, he wasn't gonna be here, please give us a list of tasks, and so he gave me this, but he didn't put signs on, so I don't know what that's. I think we're fine on supplies, as far as I know. He wants somebody to go to Amazon and order grabbers, but, presumably he could do that.
There's another budget item that we don't know the final cost. So, you
No,
know,
but
if
he
we
said-
only get $500, we may want to
No.
think about it.
No. This is this year's money, and we have plenty to spend.
Okay.
Oh, good. There's grabbers at Ace Hardware. That's where I bought mine. And in the back, when you go for
Did
the
you go to,
contractors. Spears.
Spears, thank you.
Spears. And it's almost to the contractor desk. And I got a couple of really nice ones there, and they're not cheap, but the thing is that they stand up well.
Well, that's the thing, to get ones that don't fall apart.
First, go down in the basement, because we have some left over from last year.
Mhm.
So, I didn't think we should get anything. I think there's a new garage, so there's, and they're really nice ones that stand up well, so,
In the basement, in the library.
yes, there's all of our supplies from the last cleanup. Just went right down into the basement.
The butler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Penny would know about.
Right.
I own one, so.
Yeah, well, I sort of, they all went downstairs and I'm like, oh, well, I would have kept the money.
And did yours end up down in?
Everything, he just put everything down.
Oh, well, if there's something, you could reclaim.
I know, and that's still the. Did you ever do that? Did you, okay, we had one of those,
I saw at least one grabber.
okay.
Yeah, well, Henry apparently priced some, and they were like 12 of these for
Those are
Good
cheap
ones.
ones. Oh,
cheap.
cheap.
$12. Cheap.
We were paying $20.
Well, I think we should kind of strike a balance between fall apart and it's so nice that they don't come back to us. So,
That's part of the issue, yeah. We actually on the sign-in sheet last
We
time.
need to mark that people will get.
We did,
records.
we did that. Something like,
I would day glow paint or something.
well, no, on the sign-in sheet, if you give somebody a grabber, you mark that where they signed in, say they took the grab. So that you can,
Number them.
Well, if you get it back.
so that's the kind of at least you know that it has for.
Right.
The ones I have, I bought at the store across, at the light, at the hospital, because I bought them for my husband when he.
Oh, and that, yeah, that.
But
medical
I
supply.
don't know whether they would be in the same quality as.
It would be, I think, more expensive, you know, as soon as you talk.
I
medical
can't
supply,
remember what I
it's a big
paid.
markup.
I mean, I was buying a bunch of things in there that were on the list for people who have hip replacements.
I think the hardware stores are, you know.
Yeah, that's, yeah. And
And then we can assume Leslie's gonna do the trucking like we did before.
Well, Leslie did it first. And we need to- oh, she can do it.
So what's that?
Inform the transfer station, which I think Leslie had before.
yes, she did.
He says, item 7, consider whether to make a small map that tells where to put your bags. If we're going to expand it to encourage people to clean up just in their street.
to
Are
get
there-
some drop-off points.
As long as, I think it's a very important thing to collect all those bags and photograph them. That's what we did in the past, so that you can actually then use that in the, have the PR piece.
And we can use it in a newsletter when we
Yes.
broadcast, you know, this happened and this is how much trash we found alongside our roads. So, you know, that could go into eventually educating people not to.
Well, but it
Good
would,
luck.
there are people who say, well, I'm willing to clean up my street. I don't necessarily want to say, well, you'll have to get in your car and haul the trash to Guilford Butler so we can put it in a pile and take a picture.
Well.
Well,
Well, you take a picture of it all in the truck. The truck goes.
Yeah, well,
that is true.
That's true, yeah.
It seems, yeah.
Well, that's, anyway, that's, I think
Okay.
there's some PR photos would be good.
Somebody has to, that needs to go on the list and somebody needs to remember to take them.
We'll take the picture.
Okay.
remembering.
Oh. And PR photos webs. Thank you. And 8 is noted, plan for table with other info the CC wants to hand out. I'm not sure we, at this point, have anything much that we want to hand out, but
I think we should put that topic.
I think we should have stuff to hand out, frankly. So let's think about that, stuff to hand out.
You know, because
okay, Theo, think about stuff to hand out.
I don't know,
Oh, I'm thinking about the thing I'm gonna do, that particular big project, so,
Okay, well,
I'll hand out stuff about that
okay,
when we get to it.
okay. Let me just thumb through it again.
Is it, excuse me, is it Earth Day?
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this could be a little, we always had a poster for Earth Day about trash and recycling and
Yeah,
all that stuff.
that, I think ended up in the basement also.
So that could be part of the table anyway,
It
whether
was
you
before.
have didactic material or not.
Yeah, we set that up next to the sign-in table. In front of the.
Oh. Information signs. I guess he just means posters. I don't think he's meaning. Money for roadside signs and stuff. No, he's wrong about that. The money for roadside signs, the budget. We have money through June. Because we're on a July to June fiscal year, so he is mistaken. We are still on this year's budget.
And you think there's money there?
Yeah,
I mean, we probably should get a monthly report on how much is left.
I'm
we need
going
a
to
monthly
submit,
one-time report right now. It'd probably be a good.
I'm going to submit an invoice for reimbursement of the map, which is like around $45.
But I mean, we should have an accounting every month. This is what we started with. We spent this is what's left.
I don't want to be
What-
asking Harry to do an accounting for us monthly, when only a few times a year
Yeah.
do we go from.
We can keep track of
So
it
we should do it
ourselves.
ourselves.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
So we've done $100 for the Maine Association. There's your 40. There's whatever Henry's gonna spend on signs, and that's about it.
Okay.
And then the grabbers.
So I mean, that's easy enough to write a receipt. Now, actually, I don't think the person who actually writes the checks and manages the money is not Terry. It's-
no, but still,
Okay, so we should be talking to Bill about how much money there is and so on.
I start by asking him what they use for other groups like this.
Yeah.
You know, when
I don't
you
know who,
Well, he said he's got a budget.
we've got the big ticket guys, fire department, ambulance folks. And then of course, the butler and that, which is modest, and then there's us. Most committees have no budget. I mean, planning board doesn't have a budget.
we used
They
to
don't.
budget, yes, for note takers. And for a while,
Is it in the budget? Did the planning board?
I don't
present
think,
a
I mean,
request?
so, well, you know, Irv is the chair, so I'm sure. I don't know, actually, I will email him tonight to find out. We have a meeting. I'm missing it next week because I have to go back to Boston again. And I emailed him to ask him, but the interim CEO is Terry, so Terry, you know, attends the meeting, then she takes the notes, and, you know. So, but, you know, in the past, there was a budget, you know, and what happened, do you know any more about that for the planning board?
I'm not taking the minutes anymore, but they actually paid me for the minutes that I took. I
Yeah.
mean, it was a very minuscule sum, but There
Yeah,
must
so
be
right
there
now
must be a
Siri's
budget.
Doing it, so there is no I mean, that's part of her extra. You know, I'm sure she's paid overtime when she has to attend late meeting like that, so.
An interesting question, and I don't know if library can present it as a budget.
Well, you know, the budgets are published in the annual report.
Well, yeah,
Well, it's something, yeah, but we didn't use to. Yeah, I mean, the library used to have such a tiny budget when it was in the schoolhouse, but now, you know, with a fairness repair, with the cost, I mean, that budget.
Well, that's part of the annual meeting. We all go to the annual meeting. At the end of June, it's one of the things that's.
well, yes, and it's quite cut and dry, and everybody always approves everything. Occasionally, somebody will get up in arms about money in the tennis court. And half an hour will be spent on that.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry
normally,
to interrupt you.
where the
but what are we
rubber
talking
really
about?
hits the road is the meeting. The committees have the select board and then the joint select board budget committee meeting. By the time it gets to town meeting, it's just really a pro forma rubber stamp, barring extraordinary circumstance.
Well, we have some time before that.
Well, we've already presented our budget to the
Correct.
select board and the budget committee, select board joint meetings are scheduled. But there's no, I don't think there's anything to discuss. We asked for what we wanted and we got it. Okay, so small map between where there's, we'll have to talk to Henry about that. And the table, you think there should be a table, Theo, for informational materials, or it can just be the same
Same
table as for sign up? Okay. I think that's all we can do on roadside cleanup, so over to Theo.
I was up at 6 o'clock this morning thinking about this, but I have to say that I was somewhat saddened by the annual report that is now going to be going out to the town, because to be very blunt, we didn't really do a lot much, you know, in this year, and we did the invasive plants thing, and we did another talk, and you know, we did using some of the other conservation improvements, but I just started thinking, well, what are we doing is actually conservation, and the thing I came up with is the concept that we could be doing things to help the community to learn how to repair things, repurpose things, and recycle things correctly. I mean, how many of us really understand the recycling process of the transfer station, you know, when you throw your stuff in, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of education that can be done. And so that's what I'd really like to do. And is to do that. And the way I see it working is it's 3 different topics, and the, you know, repairing is the first one that I came up with, but it's the hardest one. Because if you want to help people learn how to repair things they have so they don't pitch and buy new things, we need to be able to help them do that. And it occurred to me that if there are people in our community who know how, you know, they're electricians, or they are carpenters, or they're, you know, these other things that could be used to repair things, and then we could have some kind of a program that says we're going to have a speaker who's going to talk to you about repairing electric. You know, if you've got a lamp that needs to be wired or something like that. Not that anybody's going to do it for them, but to show them how you can.
I think it's dangerous.
I
Don't
wouldn't
you think
start
that
with
the
the
electric buses can do some of those things?
Well, I think we don't do that.
I think that's an excellent idea.
Scratch electric, finishing furniture, you know, or something like that, or just there's a lot of things that if people knew how to do something, they wouldn't throw it in the trash.
Yeah, I notice all the time that Belfast, because they put it in the free press all the time, and notice they have a repair cafe.
Yes.
on a regular basis, and people bring in things and they have people there who are knowledgeable people who will give them advice on fixing it. And like, just this afternoon, I was talking to my daughter-in-law and she's like, something's wrong with something that she can play music through her phone or something. And it's just a little wire that came loose. It needs to be resoldered, but trying to get Skip to, her husband to do this. And that's the kind of thing that you could do. And talking to the people in Belfast would probably be very helpful.
I like the title too.
I like the name of Repair Cafe.
That's very good.
But even if they, if the dump had like their own St. George, a second-hand shop.
That's the other, the second, there were three parts to this. One is repair. The second one's repurpose. And that's where, if you've got something in your house that is in fairly good condition, can you think of some other way to use it instead of getting rid of it?
But maybe not you, and that's why if you don't want it, because you don't have room for it or whatever, put it out there and somebody would think of something to
You
do
have to
with
do
it.
with it. And it doesn't, again, it doesn't end up in. Well,
It is not broken, it's just that you don't want to use it. You take it to Goodwill or Salvation Army. And the people who want it will find it with no particular effort on anyone's part.
have you ever been to Salvation Army and looked at that room that they've got where you take your donated items? And they told me, I took stuff in there and they said, we've got too many of those, we won't take it. You take it to the dump. They said, there's a dumpster, and they put it in there. So I'm trying to stop us from doing exactly that, or even a swap.
Yeah.
Like a swap then.
And that would be a fun day, actually, a swap day.
Oh, I like that so much.
To get advice from the St. George people who seem to be the most,
Sometimes.
Yeah.
the most advanced on this kind of thing around here.
I love that idea, swap day.
I
That's
found treasures, I had a house.
Hair cafe, swap day.
We had guests all the time, and I went and got a huge Ziploc bag of flatware, and it's like $5. There you go. And it's that problem. It's like when you have guests all weekend long and stuff, you're always looking for forks and whatever. It was perfect.
Yeah, to stop you involving those stupid plastic ones in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anything that is thrown away, that's what I'm.
Yeah, no single-use plastic, please, anymore. Anywhere.
And then the final one,
Recycle.
thank you. I'm sure we can find somebody, to come and talk to us about the proper way to recycle. I mean, what does it really mean? The numbers on the plastic, 1 through 6.
And get the truth, whether it does.
Yeah,
make
and
it
it's what's happening at the transfer station. Are they putting all that stuff together and carting it off somewhere? I mean, is it really being recycled?
I'm told it is. I've done some asking. I need to pursue it further.
Yeah.
But they, forget the name of the outfit that takes it, but they actually do sort of.
Terraform. I was just.
Doesn't ring a bell. No.
Wouldn't it be interesting to have a speaker that comes in and talks to you about
Yes.
the recycling process?
Interesting to us, and I'm not any more
Well,
comments we can get.
all you can do is try. But if that's the thing I wanted to talk about, and the reason I feel a sense of urgency is that's something we can do before the end. So we can have one thing, at least start the process, so that we've got a truly conservation thing, we're actually conserving. And that would make me personally feel good, so that's why I want to try.
I almost think you're talking about several different days.
Oh, you are, but at least.
I mean, you talked about a repair, reuse, recycle day, and I think we're really talking
We're
about.
definitely talking
series.
about 3 different days.
And
Absolutely. But if we
I
just
think it
do
ought to
one
be
or
like
two-
a repair wood stuff day, a repair, because you'll need different experts if you want to
Absolutely.
repair.
Absolutely.
think back to your point about the annual report, is then what you might do there is sponsor by the conservation.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, definitely get. And then there's so many other things we can talk about after we do that one, and we've got trail work that needs to be done on town-owned property, you know, we've got.
But before we get there, it's the usual government, slog, where you need to ask permission to do this and do that.
But that's why at least you start the process of thinking about conservation in terms of.
Well, I don't know if you missed some of the talks, but for that plots of land, the plan, and then we were going to wait for spring to do that. It was to walk the town plot to find out the assessment of that plot,
Yeah.
Is it good for trails? What kind of trees are there? Are they healthy? We need to find all that out.
We need to have a site walk with a forest.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
I told her, and it's all, we agreed that I will set it up in the spring.
Who did you start to for forest?
The district forester, the one that's assigned to us, and that's for, wisdom for free, and she may bring a biologist, along.
I haven't seen that.
So could we put that on our list of things and then try to do?
Yes, actually, but it's like, let me come as a surprise to selectmen, since we have not talked and asked for permission to bring the town forester.
Do we really have to ask for permission to
Well-
take a walk out there with the?
This is a town property, and, I think I want to talk, her name is Alisa, I think, and, she's definitely wants the town to be aware of what's happening.
Wonderful. She would be a real resource.
No.
I got this.
I don't know, the other departments.
7 or 7.
70, female.
So just add on to now, I'm just kind of interested, side interest in some companies that will come down. I'm really interested in the Pearlnest community conference. And that has a lot of different positive. So they've got a workshop and stuff up there. I'm just gonna find out how they're doing it, what it is, and
Yeah.
come back.
It's like, it's interesting to me because, in my neighborhood, pretty much everybody composts because they are using the compost in their own little garden, so, but yeah, there are probably a lot of properties which don't do gardens or whatever, or will have a garden of bringing everything, so.
Well,
But-
there's also the situation that we're in, that we do compost, but we're a little operation for our little 1 acre. And we cannot compost things like animal, meat, animal bones, dairy, a lot of stuff, because we don't get the heat high enough. You need an industrial grade operation to have the volume that the inside of it cooks.
We gotta bring the temperature up.
So
Yeah, it should do scraps, vegetables and stuff.
that's right. So there's a lot of stuff that we produce that we take to scrap docks. I mean, we don't put it in the trash, but one thing, moving sideways a bit to the meetings we're starting on, having a conference of all the Knox County Conservation Commissions. One topic that came up was to explore is, if you're gonna do community composting, maybe several local communities could go in together to do it. That would also,
Yeah, what really bothers me that we're going to waste is all these people out there making a living out of cutting people's lawn. And all that extremely high nitrogen, hot grass clipping is going to waste somewhere. We had someone for years cutting down in my neighborhood, and he couldn't interest them in, I offered him space. At that time, we had 3 acres cleared, on the road. At the frontage of my lot. But that is so, and you talk about getting hot. If you take all those bags of grass clippings and pile them in a garden way trash, in a few hours, you can't put your hand in the middle of the pile.
That's how they cook stew in the war. It's like a war, straw.
Yeah, you can use that heat to cook at. I mean, and think of all these lawns. They're all producing. Depending on the size, 3 or 4 garden way cats full of grass clippings that are fantastically good. And they're all going to waste somewhere, making a stinky pile because they, when you just throw the grass clippings and it packs down, there's no oxygen and it stinks.
We just leave our leaves the grass clippings.
Oh, yeah, but these people,
Yeah, the landscapers, you know.
they don't.
But what percentage of people are actually composting versus those that, for whatever reason, can't or don't? And what's the opportunity? So I'm just kind of curious about what are they doing? What's the scale of it? Right? And what's that end-to-end picture look like? And then sort of come back and share what I found. I think there's definitely positive ways we can affect downstream. But I think there's also some near-term potential in terms of what that compost produces and who gets to use it, and maybe who outside the town gets to buy it. I mean, just kind of thinking of a sort of a 360 site that ends up being in that thing.
What's the gift store do with their food waste? That may be one of the bigger ones in town. And in the other industries, you know, down.
How much could you cut down on waste to the transfers?
I was going by buttermilk once with my trailer, luckily there were 12, 15 bags of leaves at the overlook. Somebody just dumped them at the buttermilk, parking area, the bird overlook. So I threw them in my trailer and took them to the transfer station and they put them in with the trash.
Oh.
And I was, this is crazy. I mean, I should have opened them up and let them blow down the road or something, But what you're talking about, if they could have all gone with the grass clippings, grass clippings and the refuge. I was in Carabasset Valley once and they were doing municipal composting and they took everything, to your point. They took meat, eggshells and bones and the whole works. And I guess somewhere that all got ground up and then passed out equally around town. Is what I understand.
Yeah.
Well, the man that I used to get my compost and or different levels of soil and stuff from, he composted fisheries waste. It was fantastic with compost.
Well, that,
And he made it in, huge piles with earth moving machinery.
you eat so much, you don't realize.
I think there's opportunities. Oh. Wow.
I probably can't.
Well,
He only takes chances.
yeah, where do you want to take?
I mean-
Are we gonna have the day or schedule something?
I would love to send it out, write something to say, if we decide on like repair cafe. And the other one is swapped. And either one of those,
The swamp days is Ethiopia.
yeah, and
Probably understand a little research.
well, it's gonna take a little development, but I think the swap is really easy to do. And we can do the, just get it on the listserv and, We're not
But
selling
also,
stuff.
we need to ask Penny again for space, because it's gonna have to happen over there. And it cannot compete this one that actually has, or, you know.
Well, they do their license,
Yeah.
and I don't think we can skip.
What if it was like the yard sale on the south side, but was done through my forms up?
Right.
Bank. And there were tables outside and you brought.
But she's gonna have a book sale, you
Mhm.
know, and stuff like
Well,
that.
No, but we could work around that.
Yeah, but that's my
Or
point, you
even-
need to schedule it around Penny's
Or,
activities.
yeah, even have it the same day, you know,
Multifaceted, bringing.
and if that would work, but also if you wait till June, you'll be getting some of the summer people.
Well, I think she sells the tables, you know, it's a fundraiser for the library, so,
Mhm.
you know, the idea of the swap, you want people to bring things, but it's like, you don't want them to pay a fee or whatever.
You know, and
So-
also I think it could be. We shouldn't be on the-
So if it's Penny, you have the book sale, but also she sells the table for people who want to sell their extra things. Yeah. So the swap day is totally different, so you can happen in another.
So, I'm very happy they got the. thing,
Yeah.
And suggested and see what the possibilities are for dates. And, the nice thing is it's an outdoor event, so. And it's just see what she says and
Yeah.
I'll talk to you.
But you need to think, yeah, you know, can the library provide the table, the outside tables, or do people have to bring their own table?
All those things you have to think about. But the action items. to talk about.
You know, years ago when I lived in Southern Maryland, a number of the churches would have a regular day every year where they, you know, you could, for a very small fee, get a space for a table or a booth or whatever to, you know, whether it was clothes or furniture, whatever you
The
wanted.
church does it, they did it recently, yeah.
But if, what I'm thinking is, if it became an annual thing and people knew that, oh, on this day, and on this weekend in June, I can clean out the closets, and everybody else will be doing that. And people would come and they'd set up their stuff and then they'd go, you know, grazing through everybody else's stuff. Now they can go home with as much as they came with, but different stuff.
Good, you want that.
Right. And then they would combine it with barbecue.
Like I tried to never send my husband to the threat.
That's the whole point, is that it should be a net sum zero, you know, the givers. and the
Everything goes
takers.
away, right?
Everything goes away, and there's no money exchanging.
That would be.
I'll trade you this skirt for that.
That's the awkward thing though.
All right, we have 15 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right, well, I think, then if you take a vote, then we're gonna proceed with the idea of organizing this swap thing. And also, you know, and to try to have. Come back at plans for it in a minute.
sounds good.
Everybody in favor of doing that?
Okay, so, we're now back to where we left off. The next thing is community resilience partnership with Theo and Theo want to do an update.
Yeah, this will be for the greenhouse. gas one.
Oh, good, okay.
We may not get to it.
Okay.
But the community resilience, if you want to do an update. Last we heard, people were being asked to answer a survey.
Oh, we're way past that.
Okay. And
And I'm not at the lead on this,
understood.
so I didn't. to talk about it, but we do have, all the building blocks of preparing presentation.
I think the best way to sum up is that the priorities have been validated
Yes,
in terms of the survey and the final package of information has all been put together. and was ready to go to the select board last week until that was postponed.
So
And it'll be-
tomorrow,
And it'll be presented tomorrow. I'll be there with Penny. And then we present it to the select board to take and endorse.
Can you summarize the priorities?
right,
So
Can you tell us what the priorities are?
the number one priority was to do a solar project. Town municipal.
solar, did you say?
Sorry.
I didn't hear the word
So
before
no,
project.
number one was to do a solar project. That reduces the energy costs energy costs on town municipal buildings.
And the pollution,
Sorry.
and the pollution.
And then part of something I'll chat about here is, well, where is the best bang for the buck? And that's something that, whether it's Guilford Butler or the town office, is sort of has different pros and cons to it, based upon energy uses and impact, and also what could be done for 50,000. So the final documents are presented to the select board tomorrow night to bless and sign off if they find okay. The next thing we're doing currently is putting our outline case together to submit to the proposal. And so this is what we intend to do. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, and I understand, from listening to Meg that they haven't opened the new set of applications, but they expect to do it within the month. So if we do everything on a timely basis, we should be ready to make an application for a grant. It's interesting, it's the select board that's actually applying, even though, you know, we've had this ad hoc thing going, but it's really going to be the town applying. ultimately.
It's something.
Oh.
So that's pretty much it right now. You know, next tomorrow night is really the major milestone.
Question? Why would you consider putting solar on Guilford Butler when that building is supposed to be coming down?
That's a part of the discussion. And the tracing, yeah. One of the proposals is that Guilford Butler could also be a warming station where they could be like
In the
I
short
don't-
run, I believe that is the plan. It will be a warming, and I think they got some generator or something to be able to do that, but all of that, we're still working on, the working assumption for the town is Guilford Butler is done in 5 years.
I know,
or
but
4 years.
we're getting ahead of the process. First, we have to get through getting through the steps, getting this select board to say, yes, they're going to put in a grant, and then we will have a grant. So we're not
But
at that
you
stage
brought
yet.
up just now that you were considering Guilford Butler, so presumably that's what you will be telling the select board tomorrow night.
So just putting that aside for a second. And there's ways I think about whatever you do at Butler, you move it on to the next. So, for instance, if you look at the two places, in terms of kilowatt usage, the town office massively uses much more electric power than Guilford Butler. Guilford Butler uses significantly much more oil than the town office. So that's, without bringing that into the equation, that may come and say, well, look, you have to think about that because that's not going to happen. It's just to present, these are the two pictures of the main municipal buildings that are consuming energy. There's a solar project. If, for instance, this, which I assume right out there, you've got a big demand on 220 power, etc. For what you could do for the 50,000 in terms of savings versus what you might be able to do for 50,000 for Butler. Then I don't know the answers to
Well,
this.
yeah, and you need to consider the time horizon, because, I mean, if you manage to install solar panel on that building,
Right.
you know, it's done and over with. And, you know, hopefully it will promote use of heat pumps in more rooms and so forth. And get rid of the gas tank over there. And if you have to install it over there, you know, again, you have to have heat pumps, you know, that's another expense. And to heat the size of that building, $50,000 is just scratching the surface. So you're not gonna be effective, okay?
So one of the things that someone in the group Link, I think, is taking expertise involved with solar is to connect with somebody like Vision Energy and sort of talk to some people and
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of understand.
Well, I talk to them regularly because I have them do stuff on my house and then the fact that, you know, whatever, then you're gonna have to pay to take down the solar panels and whatever, you know, even if
Right.
assuming that that building is renovated and not taken down, still everything will have to come out, you know, and so it's wasting labor. In the end, you know, you waste money and you know, I'm not sure it's gonna be more effective over there at all.
I'm not saying it's going, I'm just saying, this is what we found out.
That's a
Okay.
good discussion.
This is what the project looks like. Now we're trying to understand what can happen with that 50 pumps.
It's kind of like you have to take the next step, which is
Mhm.
select board signing off on it. Then you write a grant out. Not-
But for writing the grant application, you have to decide, you know, where are those panels going to be?
Exactly. So that's not decided.
Yeah, and you know, and knowing Penny from the past, Penny would say, well, it's something that needs to go to town.
Well.
So, you know, that has always been her answer.
One thing is, if you put panels on the ground here, we have lots of ground, and you might work someday into a large solar, field that like they just did a little while ago down in Blue Bay.
But again, you know, it's the lack of long-term planning that really bothers me.
But the long-term planning should be here, not someplace that we're still arguing over.
Yes, I agree. And it's like, I think ideally, we should explore whether the root structure here is strong enough to support those solar panels.
Well, they don't have to go in the roof.
Well,
So-
but you see, from a conservation point of view, it's much better to have it on a building structure than using up some ground, you know, that.
So,
We have lots of ground here.
so,
100 acres.
Oh.
so with all due respect, we have lots of questions. Right? We're peeling back the layers of the onion. We're asking those questions as they come up. And now, so the next piece is to try and get somebody who really knows how to answer those questions. To sort of say, you guys are nuts. Or this is what this town did, this is what these people did. So, it's, you know, moving on to the next set of questions.
Yeah, exactly. In other words, this is the working process.
It's just, yeah, Earth is great because it's definitely going to get the fantastic resource to the. So
Yeah.
we'll go forward, that's for sure.
And it's time to get the select board at least to acknowledge this.
Yeah,
There's nothing else about it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that program is about making multiple steps. This is our first step, right? To get our feet under the ground and then move on to what the next one.
So you want to talk about this?
I can do it real quick.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, you know, what was introduced to us during, this work, resolution, Nichols, that was involved with, ICLI, and what they're using as a clear path initiative. This is, I printed out just one simple page and sort of said, what's it about? And so,
I'm sorry, where's it?
so in other words, we're collecting this greenhouse emissions data is all going into a national tool called that's called Clear.
Is it the towns,
The town.
Emissions?
Sorry,
South Thomas Street?
South Thomas
Greenhouse.
data. I'm starting to collect it, try to sort it out.
Okay.
I went to an orientation that Midcoast put on for us using one of the support folks down in Bath, they've been doing this for a couple of years now, just doing it to help us sort of understand the tool and how to use it. So once we start collecting this information, one of the things that Meg and I are trying to sort out is, well, how do you make those decisions? Right, and this is kind of a tool that supports that. So one is we can start understanding the things. There's two paths here, there's town and community. So we're starting town, it's a much simpler route, right?
Can I just ask for clarification? When you say town, you do not mean you're gonna see what everybody in town is emitting. You're only looking at the municipal building.
There's a government track
Okay.
and there's a community track. We're going down the community track right now because we can get that data very quickly.
Not online again. I mean, you're gonna know how much my house emits
No? So the government track
is.
is about municipal
Yeah.
buildings.
That's what I
we
asked.
can know.
And so I thought that's what you were doing, but then you said, no, we're doing community.
No, there's a government track and there's a.
But yeah, but
community-
But you say,
I'm sorry. okay,
Okay. Oh,
All right,
okay.
so
You're
we
doing
are going
community.
down the government. Right? So, so basically,
Excuse me a second. Forum is just.
okay,
No.
we have voted.
Yes.
so you want to just continue this next time?
So I think we have to adjourn.
Okay,
I'd love to continue. I'd love to do this.
Well, can you stay or not?
No.
Okay, so. So you said you had to leave at 6, and that means we have no quorum. So I think we just have to adjourn. I'm sorry.
that's fine.
I think it was a good meeting.
Recycle these.
Yeah, I've not bought any paper in years. Everything that comes my way gets recycled.
What did you do?
So, I mean, so you know how to use the tool, I think that is putting the data. Okay.
How they.
Yes, so can you do?
That's what I
I don't think she ever chimed in. There was nothing.
No, I think you're right.
And there was no other person like, there's a person named Nancy Goslin, I think, but there was no, I mean, we just.
Yeah, I
It
tried to
never
reach
came.
Nancy Goslin. I don't, did you get, did you notice whether you got an email from Terry announcing
No.
I did, the agenda?
I did.
From Terry.
I did.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I can't tell you exactly when, but I did.
Well, that people's reputation, yeah.
are you sure? Yes.
That's an average.
Thank you, dear.
So
Then what?
so,
What if I hit end? I seem to recall. See, when I hit end down here, end meeting for all.
I just